In this video I'm going to show you how you can take several photos shot with one light. In each photo you place the light in a different position to achieve different lighting, and then combine the photos together in GIMP to create a photo that looks like it's been lit with multiple lights. So here I've got my photos. You can see I've got one here with the light pointed towards the left edge of the product, which is a camera lens in this case, and then we've got a photo here with the light pointed giving a highlight on the right edge of the product, and then we've got a photo with a white background behind the product, and when they're all combined should give us an image that looks like this. So the first thing to do is to grab our three images with the different lighting and bring them all into GIMP. Just going to click and drag to move them in. Because my photos are in Adobe RGB colour space and GIMP's currently set to sRGB, it's just got this message, so I'm just going to click keep on this. The other thing is that GIMP works on 8-bit images rather than 16-bit, and these images are 16-bit, so I'm just going to click OK on these. 16-bit is better because it gives you sort of more space to edit your files, but unfortunately it's the full version of Photoshop, which is quite expensive, that offers that. If you want to use the GIMP, which is free, then you don't get that for the moment, at least anyway. So the next thing to do is to drag the images all into one file as layers. So I'm going to click on the thumbnail up in the tab up here, drag it across to the middle one, drag it down and let go. And you can see it's added it as a layer over here. So I can close that first image now. And then do the same with the other image. Drag it in and add it as a layer. And now we can close that image. I'm just going to rename these layers so you can see what they are. So this one we've got left highlight. This one's the right highlight. And then this one's the background. Here we go. Right, next thing to do is we want to align all the images. Although these were taken on a tripod, there will still be a little, or there could still be a little bit of movement between the images. Obviously I had to handle the camera to press the play button to review the images and check the lighting was right, and when you do that then it can result in a little bit of movement. So it's using the magnifying tool over here. I've got the layer selected. I'm going to click up here to set the opacity to about 50%, and then zoom in on some detail, and there's not any obvious ghosting here, so if we toggle the layer visibility on and off using the eye here, can see these images are aligned properly. So I'm going to put the opacity back to 100%. I'm going to align the background layer. Again, set the opacity to about 50%, and you can see here there's some visible ghosting, which indicates that the layers aren't aligned properly. So I'm going to click the Move tool, click on the image, and then using the arrow keys on the keyboard, I'm just clicking the left key to align it, and then toggling the visibility on and off to see if it looks about right. Let's check this side. Yep, that looks good to me. So I'm going to put the opacity back to 100% there. Let's go to View, Zoom, Fit Image in Window, and then it's going to zoom out once more as well. So just control clicking there with the zoom tool to zoom out again. Now you can see I've added, when I was taking the photo, I used polystyrene blocks sort of quite near the lens to try and prevent too much light spilling around the edges of it. Obviously we don't want those in the final image, so if we use the lasso tool over here and then click once, drag, pull the line down, click again, click again, click again, and then press enter, and then we'll create a new layer. We have it filled with transparency. Let's just click OK, and then on our new layer we want it filled with white. You can see here white is my background color at the moment. I'm just going to go to edit, fill with background color, and the selection that we've made is now filled with white. So do the same on the other side, click once, click again, click, click, and enter to complete the selection. Edit, fill with background color, which is white, and we've done that. So if we go over to select and select none, and then we've got none selected. For this particular image, the reflection and sort of the colour of the table down here is a bit too dark for me, so I'm going to pull in another image which has got a better reflection. That will be this one, and just going to click and drag it on top of the other images, those same messages again, and you can see here what a difference having those polystyrene blocks behind the lens has caused. This is without the polystyrene. You can see there's a lot of light spill around the edges of the lens, and with those bits in place then the lens has a much better defined outline. Right, so this layer I want for the reflection and the reflection only. So I'm going to use the lasso tool. Just going to click there, click over there, click like that, and press enter to make a selection. Now I'm going to apply a layer mask to this layer, so we've only got the selection selected from this layer. It's layer, mask, and add layer mask, and initialize layer mask to selection, add, and you can see now only the bottom of this layer is being included and the rest of it is being masked out. Going to go to select none, and now this selection that we've just made, it will be a hard edge selection. You can see that here, and you can also see there's a bit of misalignment. Whoops. So we're going to need to align this image with the rest. I probably should have done that when I first moved it in, really. Just going to right click and disable layer mask for the moment. Set the opacity down. Let's zoom in a bit more. Oops, not that much though. That's better. Use the move tool again. Oops. Selected. Need to be selected on the image. And then just click the to highlight the layer on and off. Let's check this side. Maybe it does need to be moved another pixel or so to the left. check this side again. Yep, that looks good. So let's allow that layer mask again. Now down here we'll use a soft brush. You can see it's got 50% hardness, and I'm just going to increase the size a bit more than that. That will do. Oops, painting on the wrong thing there. So want to be on the you want to select the layer mask, and I want white as my foreground colour because I want to paint in this layer. I'm just painting it in over here. That looks okay. I'm going to alt click on the layer mask so I can see it easily, and just going to paint along here just to soften the edge so there's less of a visible transition between the layers. And then alt click on the layer mask again to go back to the normal view. And let's try that. Yep, that looks okay to me. I'm going to go to View, Zoom, Fit Image in Window again, and I'll just rename this. And rename that one as well. There we go. Right, now you can see down here there's quite a visible sort of edge between our reflection image and the rest of the image. So we want this edge around the reflection to be pure white. So just before we do that though, we'll change this background layer. If I just hide that. Right, change the background layer to lighten only. What this will do is it will only show through the tones in the background layer that are brighter than this right highlight layer. So that's just the background basically. The background in this image is the only thing that's brighter than this image. So it's showing through the background, but the lens is coming through from this layer. And I'm going to do the same thing with this reflection layer. It's going to put the opacity back up to 100% and change the blend mode to lighten only. Okay, right, now getting rid of this edge around the reflection, what we're going to do is with the image selected, go up to colours and then curves, and then you can see we've got the black point down here, the white point up here, and we just pull in the white point until this turns white, and that looks like it's done it. So just going to click OK on that. There we go. And then this right highlight layer, at the moment this is solid, so we've got the white background showing through from that layer, the reflection showing through from that layer, but we can't see the left highlight. If I change this right highlight layer to lighten, then it's only the lighter tones from this image that will overlay onto this image, which is this area here, you can see. And I'm just going to reduce the opacity of this layer a little bit so that the right highlight now is not quite as bright as the left highlight. Now the next thing, I want this reflection to fade in so the image will look good anywhere on a white background. At the moment, if you put it on a white background, it will have a visible hard edge here where the reflection suddenly ends, and I want the reflection to taper out to white. So I'm going to add a new layer down here, filled with transparency. Okay, click on the gradient tool, change the gradient options. We want foreground to transparent, and make sure that white is your foreground colour, and then click once where you want the gradient to start, hold down the mouse button, hold the control button on the keyboard for a straight line, and then let go near the bottom of the product, and you can see now we've got a nice reflection that slowly fades to white. And so I'm just going to call that layer gradient reflection. And the last thing to do to finish off is there's a few dust spots on the lens or on our product, and I want to clean those up. I did brush off the product before photographing it, but this is quite often a sort of problem that you can't get rid of all the dust. So in the tool palette over here, I'm going to use the clone tool. Going to create a new layer for doing this, filled with transparency. It's going to call it cleanup. Right, we want to sample merged, because if we sample this cleanup layer, there's nothing on it, so there won't be anything for the clone tool to clone. If we sample merged, it will sample the entire image that we can see on screen here, and so it does have something to copy from. I just need to decrease the size quite a bit. That's still a little bit too big. I can manually type that in as 11, that will work. Okay. Now, the clone tool, you control click where you want to copy from, and then you can just click to paint to copy it to there. And that's got rid of that dust spot. Let's got rid of that bit. Let's just can you hold the space bar on the keyboard to navigate by moving the image around. And then here's another dust spot over here. So it's just the brightest dust spots that sort of attract attention that I'm trying to get rid of. So again, just control and click where I want to copy from, and then click to paint over the area. Let's go back to the magnifying glass. Looks like a big bit over here. Clone tool again. Control and click. And that's got rid of that. Control and click over there. The bits over here. So again, control clicking, painting over that bit. Oops. There we go, that's got that bit out. Oops. Button. Right. There's a bit over here. So control click to set my source, and then just paint over it. A bit up here. There we go. A few bits down here. And I think I saw a bit, yes, got a long strand over here. So Let's get rid of that. There we go. So, get rid of these bits here. Obviously, if you wanted to, you could go really overboard with this and get rid of every single little dust spot on the whole item, but you only really need to get rid of the worst and most obvious ones. That one's not actually worked very well. I've made that a bit worse there. So okay, so I think we've probably got most of the dust spots. Yep, that all looks okay to me. So you can go to View, Zoom, Fit Image in Window, and you can see the final image. And then File, Save, and you can save it as a XCF file, and what that will do is it will store the image with all the different layers, and then you can come back and edit it later if you want to. So it's sort of like a master file, and then save it as a JPEG file which you can email and put on the website and that sort of thing. Go to File, Export, select file type by extension, scroll down to find JPEG, click on that, and then you just click Export and it will save the file as whatever you call it up there. And so that's it really, how you can take multiple photos with one light, with each photo being lit slightly differently, and then combine them into one image that looks like it's been lit with multiple lights.